Hi everyone, thanks very much for tuning in again. For those that don't know me, my name's Sharon Crowley, and over the last few weeks I've been interviewing several people, from experts, professionals to individuals themselves, to share tips and experiences to families who have children with additional needs. Today's special guest is Jo, who is and I'm going to say it wrong, I've only just confirmed it with you, innit? A physiotherapist. There you go. So Jo is a physiotherapist, and I'm going to stop right there, hand over to Jo, and she can tell us a little bit more about herself. Over to you, Jo.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So my name's Jo McMeehan, and I'm a children's physiotherapist, and I specialise in working with children with disabilities and additional needs. The services I offer now are primarily online, and I work with children all the way from around kind of birth up to teenage years, really. So yeah, that's me.
That's fantastic. I mean, we had I'm going to say, if I get my words right, physiotherapist with Ellie from quite an early age, and it was brilliant because it helped. They broke down the steps, give us tools and equipment to help build a strength, certainly in our legs. I think the lower body they did concentrate on, but they certainly did some upper body strength as well. So can you share some tips? We'll start with maybe the younger ones that are at home at the moment, that, you know, parents are not getting access to services. What can they be doing at home with the younger ones? We'll go there first.
I am a massive fan of positions for play, and I think these are really versatile for using in children of all ages, really. And typically these positions for play follow what normal patterns of development are. So they support different skills and movement and build strength. So the first one would be a bit of tummy time, and I know a lot of children really resist tummy time. So my top tips for tummy time would be to just vary it up a little bit, stick with things that are short duration. When you start to see a little bit of upset, move away from it, but roll your child out of that position, or move your child out of that position in a way that they would normally do it. So rather than sort of scooping them up from tummy time, you're working through a way that they would naturally follow. So turning them onto their side, sitting them up, and then picking them up and giving them a cuddle. Another really sneaky way for tummy time to happen, with little ones in particular, is just to have play on your chest. So to cuddle together, lie down on the floor, on the sofa, wherever, and just have time together. And you can make some really nice eye contact there, so it's great for communication and a bit of bonding as well. Or if your little ones are small enough to carry, you can do some things where they are being carried over your arm, so like a tiger on a branch is what I would call it. Or propping a little roll if they're on the floor on their tummy, propping a roll underneath their arms so that they're propped up on their shoulders, and it makes it a little bit easier. Really focusing on that face-to-face that you can get with tummy time as well is absolutely fantastic. But again, that is great for a child of any age. You know, coming back to visit tummy time works on that head control, that looking up, increases a little bit of postural tone and gets the tummy and the back muscles working really nicely. So tummy time's a fab one. Positions for play that I also love are things like side sitting, and you can produce as much support or as little support as needed, and again, really nice for children of lots of different ages. And you can incorporate this into any games or activities that you're doing at home anyway. So it's a bit of sneaky physio, which I always love. It's a much better way of delivering it than making it feel like a physio session. So your side sitting position would be where your child's legs are bent and sort of sat just to one side. It's a really nice one for getting a bit of propping down through one side, and you can get them working on some cause and effect toys, some switch work. If your child perhaps does some switch work, is really nice in that position, or working across the body to reach and collect things. Kids love collecting things, putting the things in pots, you know, posting things at that younger age group. So a bit of tummy time and a bit of side sitting are two of my absolute favourites, because they work across the body and they get a bit of postural control going, working on lots of different areas of the body, and really versatile to use for different age groups for sure.
That's fantastic. Yeah, thank you for that. I mean, I think one thing I certainly, and you know, for new mums maybe, and you know, younger children, is you worry that you're not doing enough. And I think as you know, Ellie's got older, it's realizing that just doing typical things, but you don't realize it. You know, like you would put a baby on your chest, but you don't automatically think it's tummy time. But you know, so it is do that. So that's great. What about children? You know, because I do think I found a lot of children start to get discharged a bit too early. You know, the age range of like just 7 to 8. You know, what can they be doing now to, you know, strengthen their muscles? What would you suggest?
Yeah. So again, you know, you can incorporate lots of ideas into play or into routines that you would normally use. I think the biggest areas to focus on tend to be your postural control and a little bit of weight bearing, sneaky weight bearing activity as well. So, and that applies whether or not you've got a child who's an independent walker or not, really. So you can change up what's happening with them sitting, so you can change the surface that they're sitting on, using something like a wobble cushion just on a dining chair, for example, is a really nice one, particularly for our children who are sensory seekers. A lot of them quite like that sensation of being able to have that sensory feedback of moving. And the other one that I really like, that is another sneaky one, is some perch sitting. So you can bump up the height of a dining chair, or if you've got a stool or an arm of a sofa, you can play some games with them sat with their bottom just on the edge of that. So the idea would be to have the hips at a slightly shallower angle and the knees at a shallower angle. And you want those in a nice straight line coming all the way down from the hips to the toes. And you get weight bearing in that position. And then from there, you can work on some reaching activities. And again, you can make it as sneaky as possible. If you want to incorporate this into snack time, for example, you could do it at the dining table, position snacks into the middle of the table so that they're having to work on that inner range of their knee movement, straightening up, but also some balance and stability for reaching and coming and sitting back down as well, or out to the sides or across the body. So positioning their toys, their snacks, their cutlery, their drinks, anything like that in day-to-day life out of reach, so that they're having to work in and out of those positions. So using a wobble cushion is a nice one, perch sitting is a nice one. And the other big favourite for some of our more ambulant children are obstacle courses. They are so simple to set up at home, and you can use anything that you've got lying around. You know, you don't need any specialist equipment. It's fun. And very often, once you get the ball rolling with this stuff, some children will then sort of take it on themselves to keep doing their own physio with a bit of supervision rather than as much engagement from mum or whoever is carrying out the session. Dining chairs, I love setting them up. You can set them up in a straight line to make a tunnel for them to crawl or creep through on their tummies. You can have cardboard boxes. A couple of leftover cardboard boxes is another one of my favourites. Children stepping in, waiting, and go again. So they're stepping out, working on balance and stability in those ways. And the other really nice one, we did a really simple one in our garden the other day for my kids. I laid out a very big cardboard box, put some coloured masking tape in zigzags and train track lines and things, and getting them to work on balance and stability and strength across different turns, or you know, one foot in front of the other, that pigeon stepping. They're absolutely fantastic strengthening exercises that are really good for motor planning as well. So our body's ability to plan what movements have to come next, negotiating spaces, as well as strength. And if you can get your child to do those barefoot, you know, if you haven't got a child who wears splints, for example, when they're weight bearing, then all the better for it, because you're getting those muscles of the ankle and the foot working really nicely. And the other nice thing about an obstacle course is you can chuck some cushions or something onto the floor with a sheet or a towel over the top of it, and you've got an uneven surface then for them to cross. And that can be done crawling, that can be done walking. Crawling is a really nice one for getting some weight bearing through the upper limb as well, but also gets the tummy muscles working and works the muscles across the hip and the pelvis. So anything that you can do to get them to be kind of weaving through things for obstacle courses are really simple, sneaky, fun ways of integrating therapy into what you do every day.
Jo, that is fantastic. As you was talking to me there, I'm like, right, it's a sunny day today. You know, we've recently, it was Ellie's birthday this week, and we bought her a hula hoop, and we can now do so. You've just given me a ton of ideas to get her doing things in the garden. So that isn't really an age range, is it? Because that could go into teenage years. So if you've got, you know, teenagers, you know, I can imagine that might not want to be out and about, or maybe feeling a bit locked in. Get them in the garden, throw them an obstacle course, and let's keep them active.
And you can get family members involved as well. You know, it's something that you can do as a group, just to kind of raise a bit of morale as well, particularly at the moment. But the more that you can get other people involved, and you can vary the targets as well. So you can set different speeds, times, you can collect objects along the way, you could do some teamwork stuff, or tag teaming in and out across different rallies of your obstacle course. There's loads of ways that you can vary it up, and you can just use one section, or you can put them together to create a bigger activity if you wanted to. But yeah, I love stuff like that. Sneaky physio is a massive favourite for mine, and I am such an advocate of all types of therapy being carried out in that way, and busting the myth that it has to happen in a half an hour concentrated session, because that's not fun for anyone.
No, it's not, and you know, when children do go to appointments, as it were, it was always a bit of a room, and as much as it, you know, there was toys and play, it still felt you were going to an appointment, and because of the time setting. So some absolute fantastic tips there, and I really do help. They help so many. If somebody wanted to get in touch with you, I mean, what services, products have you got at the moment that you can share, but where else can they get in touch with you to learn more?
Probably my Facebook page is the best place. It's just Jo McMeehan Children's Physio, and on there's lots of different ideas. Some of the obstacle course stuff is up there. I have got some pictures of some of the stuff that we did in the garden, not quite uploaded yet, but I will get there with the masking tape and stuff to give you some ideas of some things that we do. And there's lots of different ideas on there. And coming in the next couple of weeks, there'll be some exercise packs. So those sorts of ideas will be popped into some really simple, just A4 page packs, just to guide people and give you some ideas. Lots of modification ideas on those as well. So it's not just one thing. It'd be lots of different ways that you can mix those up. So the Facebook page is probably the best place, and I can direct people from there if they need anything more, because I know that there's an absence of lots of services at the moment. So yeah.
Definitely. Well, thank you very much. If you, once we finish this, if you can send that link over to me, I'll make sure that goes with this video too. So thank you very much for your time today. Some great tips, Jo, and thanks for your time. Speak to you soon.
Thank you. Thanks, Sharon.